Today we're making a Basque cheesecake, also known as a burnt Basque cheesecake or cheesecake San Sebastian. It's famous for being a no crust cheesecake with that beautiful caramelised top but never burnt and silky creamy filling on the inside. The top's achieved by baking at a high temperature for the first half an hour, and then we're going to drop that temperature down to ensure the filling is like a nice set custard and beautifully smooth and creamy. So without further ado, here's everything you need. So into the bowl crack in 3 eggs and then add 160 grams of creme fraiche. Now this could be sour cream or heavy cream. It's really up to you which one you want to use. And then we're going to add 180 grams of caster sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract and a small pinch of salt. Finally, we'll place in 15 grams of plain flour, and this just helps to stabilize the mixture, and then we can start the mixing process. Now the aim of the game here is to mix this without getting any air into the mixture. Obviously a little bit will, but we'll do our best to avoid it. So first of all, I'm going to mix it very lightly, just until the ingredients come together, using my spatula or a wooden spoon. Not whipping it because we don't want the air to get in there. We're just going to gradually break it down so it becomes a smoother mixture. And now that it's roughly incorporated, we're going to use an immersion blender or a stick blender. But it's very important that we keep the head of this blender completely submerged at all times, because otherwise it's going to incorporate air and air bubbles into the mix. So we need to put it in there, don't switch it on until it's right in, and then we're going to blend it until it's completely smooth. So now that that first mix is completely smooth, we will add in 640 grams of full fat cream cheese. And just do this gently because we don't want to put more air in there than necessary. And once it's all placed in, we'll then blend it up again until it's really smooth. It's important not to be tempted to move the stick blender up and down as you're doing this. Just keep it in there, and if you need to push some of the cream cheese to the bottom, turn it off, lift it up, and then just push it down. And then start the blender again once it's fully submerged. It might take a while to get it completely smooth, but don't rush this step, just take your time. So now our mixture is about ready, but we do need to leave it to rest for about half an hour to an hour in the fridge to allow any air bubbles to rise to the top. Because as I said, the aim of the game with this is to have as little air in the mixture as possible. So one thing you can do before you place it in the fridge is just firmly tap the bowl down a couple of times, and that'll just help bring the air bubbles to the top. And now we can transfer it into the fridge while we prepare our cake tin. So to begin with, I have got a cake tin that is 18 centimeters, an 18 centimeter tin, and this one's got a removable bottom. If you do have a springform one that opens from the side as well, definitely use that because that will help when we need to remove it from the tin. But very bare minimum, make sure it's got a removable bottom like this one. Then we're going to just lightly grease the inside of the tin with some oil or butter. And then I'm going to press a sheet of tin foil into that base and make sure it's pressed right up to the edges. And then after that, I've got a sheet of greaseproof paper, and I'm simply just going to scrunch that up because this makes it easier to press into the tin. Once you've done that, press it into the tin so it goes right into the edges. But don't worry too much about any creases because that's what gives this Basque cheesecake its classic look. Pour the mixture into the prepared cake tin through a sieve to remove any lumps and bubbles, and then firmly tap the tin onto the bench a couple of times to remove any more bubbles that might be trapped in there. Place it onto a baking sheet and then into a hot oven at 240 degrees Celsius fan for a total of 30 minutes, turning at 90 degrees every 10 minutes for an even bake. By this point the top should be nice and dark, and then you can reduce the heat down to 100 degrees Celsius for a further 15 minutes. Remove from the oven and leave it to cool at room temperature before placing into the fridge. Leave to set in the fridge for at least 2 to 3 hours before cutting into it, or if you can wait, leave it overnight. Good morning. I ended up leaving this overnight to chill. Got a bit late last night by the time it had cooled down, the lighting had gone down, so I thought wait till the next morning and we'll see what it's like. So we're going to take it out of the tin. I'm just going to use an upturned glass and press it down. And we just need to do this really gently, because where the paper is creased, the cheesecake will have baked in and around it, and we don't want to just pull the cheesecake off. So just gently remove it. And this is looking pretty good to me. So next we're going to get a nice hot knife, and then we should be able to slice straight into it and see what it's like. So there you go, that's how you make Basque cheesecake, and it looks absolutely delicious. I hope you give this one a try. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.